Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ, where we help you lead with purpose and succeed with impact. If you're ready to grow into the kind of leader others want to follow, this podcast is for you. If you're determined to elevate your success and leave a lasting legacy, this podcast is for you. As my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell reminds us, everything rises and falls on leadership. Our goal is simple: to inspire you, challenge you, and equip you with insights that can transform the trajectory of your leadership journey. Welcome aboard to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.
Today's the day where Vice President J.D. Vance is coming to Camp Pendleton, and the Marines here are excited. There's going to be thousands of people. Marines plus their families are going to come celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States Marine Corps.
And we mentioned your book, Heroes Live, your best selling book about Camp Pendleton. What brought you to the point where you felt like you needed to write such a insightful book?
People had always been asking me or suggesting, Amy, you should write a book. And I thought, never, no way. I didn't feel that I was even remotely qualified to write a book. But after years and years of deployments and storytelling, I had tens of thousands of photos. And what do I do with all these photos? How do I share this for a wider audience beyond just social media? So I started putting together photos of Camp Pendleton and researching the history of the base, which I had already known about because I was stationed there for many years. And I thought, let me put this together. And so I did a collection of other stories from other contributors who also were stationed at Camp Pendleton. And then just put this book together in 2022, right at the height of COVID. I thought, what better way to really use my creative outlets to share the story of Camp Pendleton. And the community has been just overwhelmingly supportive. And I couldn't be more grateful. And it's exceeded all my expectations of how to write a book, how to get it published, and how to those particular stories that no one else really knows about.
Man, I think
I went in with an open mind and an open heart, and I felt like that because I was hungry, I was hardworking, and it humbled me. It really meant something to me because I felt like I earned it.
Wow, that is powerful. So, what do you think is the greatest leadership advice you've ever received?
Well, I think trying to be all things to all people is a mistake. I think when you
Yes.
understand your own potential and you work from conviction, people are not always going to like you, but you always have to follow your heart. You have to do what's right by you
Mm,
within the boundaries of the guidelines and the rules and the regulations. And everyone has their own style. So
yes.
trying not to be somebody I'm not. I always just was myself. I didn't try to fit
Mm,
it. I didn't try to be more masculine or
yes.
try to downplay myself. I would always ask
Wow.
questions. I was just me. And I feel that for people coming up through the ranks or coming up through the corporate leadership, just
Mm,
be yourself, be curious, ask a lot
yes.
of questions because there's other people who are afraid to ask questions. So be the leader, ask the questions. There's
Mm,
going to be someone watching you and learning from that.
wow. So much wisdom. That is so important, especially when I.
Welcome to the podcast, folks. Let's kick things off by
Wow.
So grateful for that opportunity. The Navy truly was such a great place for me to level up and continue my career by serving and being able to leave a lasting impact on those people that I served with, that I worked for, that
Mm,
worked for me, and really just take my skills and expertise to a new level.
that is really something. So, as a public affairs officer or a communication leader, what qualities do you most look for in people on your team, and what differentiate effective media officer from the rest?
Yeah, so as a combat photographer, my expertise was in the tactical implications of photography, videography, storytelling, those tactics that I tried to transfer that into a more of a strategic thinker, an
Mm,
advisor, a coach for our senior military leaders and for people in the military in terms of creating a communication strategy. So what we look for in those people looking for that type of a job in communications is someone who can think big but
mhm,
act individually with a lot of personality. I would say charisma. They're a people person, and they really want to serve their country by telling stories and connecting resources and shaping how the community, the public, the taxpayer views our military because we
mhm.
want to bring in the next generation of top talent. How do we
Yes.
do that? We want sailors and Marines and soldiers and airmen and the Space Force Guardians
Yes.
to tell their story in a meaningful way. And so,
Mm.
how do we give them the tools and training so they can feel empowered to tell their own story, which will attract top talent?
Right, everyone, this is Coach Busy reporting to you from an undisclosed location today. I kind of miss my office and library, but I am glad that I am here speaking to you for our daily leadership and success podcast. Today, we're going to have a 10-minute AI recap of the hour-long leadership conversation I had with Commander Amy Forsythe, U.S. Navy retired, and also a Marine Corps veteran. Before we do, let's do our moment of gratitude. This is the part of the show where we just take a moment to be grateful for one thing every single day. So if you can and you would close your eyes and maybe take a deep breath and think about one thing that you are grateful for today. Regardless of all of the challenges you might be going through right now, is there one thing that you are grateful for today? I think today I am really grateful for the triumph of good over evil. Uh, I am so glad that eventually good always triumph over evil. As an example, in our country, in the US, we really started with slavery, which was bad, which was evil. And eventually, after more than 200 years, it was abolished. We've been trying to work on equity and some type of reparation ever since. But the good news again is the whole group of people were really oppressed and treated extremely badly, and eventually that stopped, and eventually we tried to live up to our uh, national credo, right? Uh, all men are created equal, and that includes women as well. So again, I am really really grateful for progress and for good triumphing over evil. During World War II, the Holocaust for the Jews, that was bad, that was evil, but eventually, again, good triumph over evil. So that's what I believe. Like I said, I've really never met a stranger in my life, but I remember when I was at the University of Alabama, I think it was my junior or senior year, I decided to run for student government president, the Student Government Association. And out of nowhere, a bunch of racists came out and they wanted to hang me from a tree and all kinds of crazy uh, things. I've never really experienced racism in America until then. But anyway, I am glad that I am still alive today. I am saved. Everything worked itself out. But yeah, I am really grateful that good will eventually triumph over evil. All right. So let me know what you are grateful for. Type it in the comment. And also let me know where you are joining us from. What city, what state, what country. And so, what I will do, I'm going to play the 10-minute AI recap, two short clips of about 5 minutes each. And then after that, I will play one more highlight of Commander Amy Forsythe. Again, leadership conversation we had, that was season 4, episode 102. I encourage everyone to watch the entire thing, and that should do it for today. All right, here we go.
Welcome to our explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something really important, what it means to build a legacy that goes way beyond just a title or a rank. And we're going to do it by looking at the story of one incredible leader.
So let's start with this quote because it's so powerful. Authority fades, but impact is enduring. That's from retired Navy Lieutenant Commander Amy Forsythe. And you know what? That single idea is really the heart of our story today. It's a principle she didn't just talk about. She lived it, and she proved it over a career that spanned 3 decades. So the big question is, how did she actually do it? Well, let's dive into the journey of a leader who truly walked the walk. We're going to uncover the lessons she learned about real leadership, about resilience, and about building a legacy that actually lasts. So for Amy, this call to serve, it wasn't just some personal choice she made one day. No, this was something woven into the very fabric of her family, a legacy that stretches back for centuries. And when I say this tradition runs deep, I mean it. We're talking ancestors who came over on the Mayflower. Her grandfather, a U.S. Marine. Her grandmother, a U.S. Army nurse. And get this, they actually met on Guam during World War II. So can you imagine? Growing up surrounded by these incredible stories of sacrifice, she felt this powerful pull to be part of something bigger than herself. So at 22, she joined the U.S. Marine Corps. And that calling, it didn't take her to some quiet desk job. No, it took her straight to the front lines. But her mission there was unique. It wasn't just about serving with a rifle. It was about preserving history through the lens of a camera.
Think about it. As a combat correspondent in Iraq, she was right in the thick of it. We're talking places like Ramadi and Fallujah. Her whole mission was to find the humanity behind those stark headlines we were all seeing. And her reports for the Pentagon Channel, well, they became this absolutely vital link, connecting the American public back home to the raw realities on the battlefield. And she doesn't mince words about what it was like. She said every day there were casualties, severe injuries, death, people you were close to. You just keep going, day in and day out. You know, it was that intense, daily experience that forged trauma into a real sense of purpose. It completely shaped the perspective that would define her leadership from that point on. So where does her journey go from there? Well, after 18 years as an enlisted Marine, a career in itself, Amy made this incredibly courageous and frankly highly unusual pivot. She decided to commission as an officer in the U.S. Navy Reserve. And you have to understand, This move was a true masterclass in humility. Just think about it for a second. You go from being a respected staff sergeant with almost 2 decades of experience under your belt to a brand new ensign, where you are basically starting from scratch. She willingly traded all that established authority for the chance to learn and grow all over again. I mean, wow. In her own words, it was humbling. It kept me hungry and hardworking. It reminded me to lead with an open heart and open mind. That willingness to become a student again, that is such a powerful lesson for any leader out there who's facing a new challenge or maybe a big career change. Okay, so all of these experiences, everything from the front lines of Iraq to starting over as an officer in the Navy, they all helped Amy really solidify her leadership philosophy into a set of clear, actionable principles. And this brings us to a really fundamental question, one you've probably thought about yourself. How do you actually measure success as a leader? For Amy, her incredible journey completely flipped the script on how she answered that question. She came to this profound realization that, you know what? It's not about the fancy titles you hold or the rank on your collar. Those things are fleeting. They're temporary. The real point of leadership, she discovered, is something much, much deeper. And it all boils down to this simple but incredibly powerful idea. You're not a leader until you make other leaders. That's it. Your true legacy isn't the position you held, it's the people you empowered and helped grow along the way. In fact, she distilled her entire approach down into 2 simple rules to live by. Rule number 1, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And rule number 2, don't take no for an answer. And you can just see the beautiful balance there, can't you? You lead with kindness and empathy, that emotional intelligence, but you pursue your goals with this relentless, resilient courage. Okay, so how do you make sure your impact, your legacy, actually lasts? For Amy, the answer was crystal clear. You honor the stories of the people who served right there beside you. And that commitment led to her best-selling book, Heroes Live Here. Now, this wasn't just some side project. This was a deeply personal tribute, built from thousands of her own photographs and memories. The book specifically honors the more than 1,000 Marines from Camp Pendleton who were killed in action after 9/11, making absolutely sure that their stories and their ultimate sacrifice are never, ever forgotten. So yeah, it's a tribute for those who serve with them, for their families, but it's also a powerful lesson in honor for all the generations to come. And now, since it's part of permanent library collections all across the country, her work has created a truly lasting legacy. So let's pull all of this together. What can we learn from Amy Forsythe's story? Here are 5 key takeaways for any leader. First, resilience is a muscle, not a motto. You build it in the trenches. Second, authenticity wins trust. Just think about her trading those sergeant stripes for an ensign's bar. Third, curiosity creates connection. It's what keeps you learning and growing. Fourth, and this is the big one we've been talking about, impact outlasts authority every single time. And finally, number 5, kindness is strength. It's not a weakness, it's the absolute foundation of real, powerful leadership. And that brings us right back to the one question that really, truly matters. I want you to think about this for yourself. When your titles are gone, when your authority fades away, what will your impact be? At the end of the day, that's the ultimate measure of leadership, and it's the question that can guide your own journey toward making a difference that actually lasts.
Welcome to the podcast, folks. Let's kick things off by diving into a narrative of resilience, leadership, and legacy. Amy Forsythe, with her 3 decades of service, really shows us that leadership isn't about a rank. It's about making an impact that outlasts any title.
That's right. What really grabs me is that idea of authority fades, but impact is enduring. What do you think makes her story stand out?
Well, it all starts with her roots, her Mayflower ancestry, and a family steeped in service. Imagine growing up in Santa Rosa with stories of a Marine grandfather and an Army nurse grandmother. It's like they planted the seeds of service deep in her soul.
Yeah, I can see that. It's really powerful to think how those early tales of sacrifice could shape someone into a leader who goes beyond just wearing a uniform.
Absolutely. And then there's her bold move from the Marine Corps to becoming a U.S. Navy public affairs officer. As a combat correspondent and photographer, she wasn't just reporting events, she was preserving history. Her lens captured both courage and raw emotion from places like Ramadi and Fallujah.
I love that. That blend of storytelling and leadership is so unique. It's like she was on the battlefield not only to document, but also to remind us how crucial human connection is in chaos.
Right, and what's really striking is how she transitioned from valuing titles to valuing the impact she could make on others. You know, she said, people don't remember what you did, they remember how you made them feel. It's like she truly embraced the idea that leaders are made when they create more leaders.
That's a game changer. It pushes you to redefine success not by authority, but by the legacy of influence you leave behind.
Exactly. And think about it. She went from a staff sergeant to an ensign, a real humbling pivot that taught her the value of starting over and re earning her place.
Right, yeah. It takes a lot of guts to shed your former status and approach your new role as a student all over again. It really emphasizes that, sometimes, our past titles shouldn't dictate our future potential.
Yes, and another gem from her is the principle. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. That encapsulates the heart of emotional intelligence in leadership.
Spot on. So, how do you see her persistence? Like when she says, don't take no for an answer, playing into her overall leadership style?
Well, it's like when faced with setbacks, being told no time and again, she finds a way to, keep pushing forward. It's that relentless drive that really underlines resilient leadership.
Right, exactly. I can totally see that. It's a reminder that in leadership, encountering obstacles isn't the end. It's just an invitation to get creative and persistent.
For sure. And then there's another layer. Her storytelling doesn't just capture events, it connects deeply with people on the ground. Her reports, often seen on channels like the Pentagon Channel, bridge the gap between the battlefield and the public.
Yeah, absolutely. That kind of narrative can change the perception of military operations altogether. It adds a human element that numbers or statistics just can't convey.
Exactly. And then she shows us that leadership also means managing your own energy. Her approach to calendar management, like that 30, 60, 90-day framework, reminds us that protecting your time is key to making a genuine impact.
Yes, indeed. That's definitely something that applies beyond the military. In the corporate world, if you're spread too thin, you can't lead effectively. But I do wonder, don't you think some might argue that such structured time management could stifle spontaneity?
That's a thoughtful critique. I mean, it might seem rigid at first, but it's more about deliberately choosing where you invest your energy so you can be fully present when it matters. It's flexible in intent, even if structured in
Right,
practice.
I see that. Fair enough. In a high-stakes environment, having that kind of strategy might actually foster more authentic decisions rather than rushed ones.
Exactly. Then there's her tribute work, Heroes Live Here, a tribute to Camp Pendleton Marines since 9/11. It's a visual and narrative homage that immortalizes sacrifice and serves as a constant reminder of the human cost of
That's
service.
powerful. That book essentially becomes both a memorial and an education, right? It teaches future generations about resilience, sacrifice, and legacy.
Absolutely. And it slots in perfectly with her broader philosophy, creating an enduring impact. It's all about raising other leaders.
Exactly. And when you mix that with her candid approach, like admitting failures when she tried running a tourist map business, it really humanizes her. It's like failure isn't a setback, it's a learning curve.
Right, and that's a lesson we can all take. Whether in the military or tech, aligning work with passion and owning your mistakes really fuels growth.
No doubt about it. I also appreciate how she emphasizes curiosity, asking the hard questions and staying true to oneself, even under pressure.
Absolutely. That, to me, is the essence of authentic leadership. Her message, stay hungry, hardworking, and humble, isn't just catchy. It serves as a call to action for every leader
exactly
out
right.
there.
It's a reminder for us, whether we lead a team or just start leading in our own lives, that real leadership is about lifting others up rather than just holding authority.
Precisely. And as she so eloquently put it, if the titles and rank fade away, leave behind a trail of empowered, inspired individuals. It's not about being the boss. It's about making bosses out of others.
True that, absolutely. So when we wrap all this up, her journey is really a masterclass in resilience, authenticity, and kindness.
Yes, indeed. Amy Forsythe's life teaches us that leadership isn't just a role. It's a series of choices every day to serve, to persist, and to inspire. It's like, if you can make others better, that's the
exactly.
true mark of a leader.
Well said. And for anyone out there looking to lead, remember to be curious, to protect your energy, and above all, to never stop knocking on doors until you too make a difference.
All right. Thank you so much for watching today. This is it for today. Again, I encourage everybody to please go ahead and watch the full episode, right? And that's going to be season 4, episode 102. And also follow Commander Amy Forsythe at linkedin.com /Amy Forsythe. And get a copy of her best-selling book, right? Heroes Live Here. You can get an instant copy everywhere books are sold, including Amazon, or you can reach out to her and she will be glad to send you a signed copy. All right, this is it for today, and tomorrow is going to be first day. We'll be back home, and I will have a pleasure of speaking with Captain Shannon Huffman Paulson, U.S. Air Force, one of the very first Army Apache pilot. And she's going to teach us about leadership, grit, and purpose. And also make sure to get a copy of her book, Grit Factor. This is going to be an explosive leadership conversation. That's tomorrow. And then on Friday, I will have the pleasure of speaking with Brian Ahern. He's a speaker, an author, a coach, and we're going to be talking about legacy of service, leadership lesson from a Marine father and his son. And he has a book about his dad, his story, my story, our story. Get a copy of that. We're also going to talk about his latest book, Influence from Above. So that is going to be quite something. So that's going to be on Friday. And then I'll be back on Sunday with Commander Chaplain Adrienne Townsend Benton. She's an educator, a minister, and a leadership architect. We're going to be talking about forward movement. And also get a copy of her book, A Greater Force Than Failure. This is going to be quite impactful, and I think it has the potential to change your life. And then on Monday next week, I will be talking with Bobby Umar. We've been trying to set this up for a little bit now. He's a global voice of art-based leadership, and we're going to be talking about leading with heart. And also, if you want to have a TED or TEDx talk, Bobby Umar has services that may help you just get there. And then next week, also on Tuesday, we had to reschedule it, but we're going to be talking with Coach Astrid Meyer. She's a Maxwell Leadership Certified Coach, founder and executive coach in Switzerland. So we're going to be talking about leading with values. So she speaks French and English, probably German too. But that's going to be quite a wonderful conversation. Okay, that's what I have planned for you this week. I'm going to play one more reel from the hour-long leadership conversation I had with Commander Forsythe. So again, I encourage you to go back and watch the full episode, season 4, episode 102, available everywhere podcasts are available. Thank you so much for being with me today. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If today's episode added value to your leadership journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for more wisdom nuggets on how to lead better and achieve greater success. Remember, leadership is the most critical skill of our time. The world will always need leaders to inspire others, drive innovation, and execute meaningful strategy. So why not count yourself among the bold leaders shaping the 21st century? Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and keep leading with excellence.